So we're going to start looking at, first of all, X and Y chromosomes. Now, if we are looking at X and Y chromosomes, okay, a female woman on her pair number 23 will have 2 X's. She's female. If we have an X and a Y, we have a male. Now, this is not new to you. However, when we start to bring in things that are dominant and recessive, that's when we have to start thinking about what sort of information is carried on X chromosomes as compared to Y chromosomes. Now, X chromosomes are quite large. Y chromosomes, on the other hand, are really quite small. So if I imagine this could be my X chromosome, and this here could be my Y. Now, that means that there are certain codes that will be missing from a Y chromosome that will have information on the X. Now, this is important when we start to thinking about stuff like color blindness. Sections of this X chromosome will have information about color blindness where this Y will not. Same thing with diseases such as haemophilia. A haemophiliac, if they cut themselves, their blood is not able to clot. So imagine they cut themselves, they're going to keep bleeding and bleeding. Now, there is no information on a Y chromosome to code for whether or not someone's a haemophiliac. So it's very much dependent on what information is on the X chromosome. Now, haemophilia is a recessive disorder. If we are dealing with dominant and recessive disorders, when we were doing it in previous Punnett squares, we were doing it in terms of big capital letters and small lowercase letters. Here, because it is linked to whether or not it's an X and a Y, we still deal with capitals and lowercase, but we actually put it above the X's. Now, we do not put anything above the Y chromosome because, as we can see down the bottom here, there is no information for this disorder on the Y chromosome. So I leave that blank to show this information. Now, if I am going to look at this in terms of how it's passed on, okay, so as we said, haemophilia is a recessive disorder. If I have a normal female, she could be X with an uppercase H, X with a capital H. Now, this is still a female because she is XX. However, she's going to be normal because haemophilia is a recessive trait. Now, if I change this, so I make her heterozygous. She's female because it's a recessive disorder and I still have a capital H. She's going to be normal. However, she's going to be something called a carrier. So that even though she still won't have symptoms of haemophilia, she has this lowercase h, this recessive gene, that means that her next generation could actually have it. Now, you can also have a woman with 2 lowercase h's. She's still female. However, she's going to have haemophilia. Okay, my choices for men. If I have a male, he's an X and a Y, but he could have a capital H at the top. That means that this X chromosome is carrying the normal gene. So he will be a male normal, which means he will not be a haemophiliac. However, if I have this male here and I give him a lowercase h, it means that his mum has passed on to him, because she was a carrier, a recessive gene to say that he's a haemophiliac. So that means that he will actually, because there is no code up here, nothing on his Y, he will have the disease haemophilia. Okay, now in this question, it says I have a heterozygous female. Now, I know she's female because I've got XX. She is heterozygous because I have a capital H coding for a dominant non-haemophiliac gene. I have here a lowercase h coding for a haemophiliac gene. And I'm going to cross it with a normal man. Now my normal man has no haemophilia, so he's got a capital H up here, and he's going to have a Y. Now, if I do this cross, I'm going to put my information for my female in each box. Now you'll notice here I am bringing my H's with me because they're always joined together. I'm going to keep that information together. Same thing with this one over here, X, H, and my Y. If I bring my information down, I have an X, capital H. Bringing it across, X, capital H. I have an X coming across with a capital H. I have an X coming down with a lowercase h. I have an X, capital H coming down. I have a Y coming across. I have an X, lowercase h coming down, and a Y coming across. Now let's look at the genotypes. Okay, my genotype ratio, I have one kid that will be female with a capital H. Capital H. I will have the likelihood of having one female, capital H, lowercase h. So she's going to be a female, but she's going to be a carrier. I could have one male, which will be X, capital H, Y. So he's X and Y, but he's not a haemophiliac. And I also have, now here's another genotype, X, lowercase h, and Y. Now, that is a lot of information. If I change this into my phenotypes, I'm going to end up with one female, and I'm looking at the first combination now, and she is going to be a normal female. I have here one female. However, if I look here, she has a lowercase h. She's going to be a carrier. So she's going to pass that gene on, or she could pass that gene on. I have up here one male who is normal. And down the bottom here, I can also have one male with haemophilia.